created Glean Agents to assist with every single step of the software development lifecycle. And throughout this, you'll notice that Glean's agents use not just the context of our code base, but the context in all of my tools, such as design documents, tickets, and more. You know, much of today's generative AI for engineering is focused on code generation, which is quite powerful and useful. But as the saying goes, code is read far more often than it's written. And as we've grown as a company, I only know a tiny fraction of our code base, so often I'm finding myself in an area where I have no context. This is one such example where I'm trying to understand our upgrade strategy for Kubernetes. I'm in my IDE, I'm in the right place in the code, and while there's the code and comments, as you can see, there's a lot here, and more importantly, not all of the context is actually even in the code. So what I can do is, in my IDE itself, in the GitHub Copilot, I can ask the Glean agent, hey, what is our Kubernetes upgrade strategy? And I got back a comprehensive response that pulled from not just from the code, but actually from our wikis, and actually even reference, hey, I'm pulling this from the Glean Kubernetes upgrade policy. And this is amazing because normally I would have had to ask people, go into multiple tools to get the answer, but I was able to do this right here in my IDE without breaking my flow. Let's fast forward a bit. So I've gotten the context I needed and made the changes I wanted. Now it's time to actually commit the code. And we do that by submitting a pull request. So just earlier this morning, I created a pull request and I put it up for review. And actually, as an aside, when even creating this pull request, I gave it some context like the Jira. And using the code and the Jira itself, we had a Glean PR description writer agent, which put together the description for me and for my reviewers. But what I actually really want to show you here is the Glean PR review agent, which as soon as I submitted the PR, it got into action and reviewed the PR, not looking just at the code, but actually using Glean's style guide and best practices, which is located in our wikis. So for example, you can see in the first comment here, it actually pointed out a potential bug. And in the second comment, based on the Glean style guide, it told me, oh, I actually should not be using wildcard imports. This is amazing for me because I got immediately quick feedback and it saved work for my reviewers. And that's really important for developer velocity. What we ultimately want, though, is our code to make it in production. But even after that happens, sometimes there can be unforeseen issues. For this, we have an on-call rotation where every single week, someone is responsible for handling the alerts that indicate such issues. So if I'm on call, my goal is to resolve the issue as quickly as I can. However, a challenge is I might not be familiar with the issue or the code causing it because, again, I'm rotating between people every single week. Thankfully, this is not a problem for Glean, which has actually indexed and seen every single past issue. Here, what I do is I provide the Glean on-call agent with the alert ticket. And what it does is it looks through all past issues, it looks at relevant playbooks that could help resolve the issue, and it even suggests experts as a fallback if none of that work based on people who have contributed to that area in the past. And so I can reach out to them for information if I need to resolve this.
Now, Chai, while this agent is working, how long would this have taken you to resolve before?
You know, it really varies, but let's say on average 30 minutes where I'm just randomly going in many different directions to figure out what's going on here. And, you know, besides just the time, it's not fun at all to be lost in a situation, in a high pressure situation such as on call. And when this on-call agent is actually able to figure it out all for me, that feels like such a magical moment when I'm able to get my answer in seconds and minutes instead of 30 minutes of bashing my head all over the place.
So we're just getting close to a summary. Here we go.
As you can see, it was able to read the ticket. It pulled together, oh, here's potential related issues that happened in the past. Here's a playbook and suggested next steps to help remediate the issue, as well as experts that I can reach out to if none of those options work, and they can help me with this. Now, sometimes issues can go from a simple on-call alert to a full-scale outage. After we resolve the issue as quickly as possible, perhaps with the aid of Glean's agents, we seek to write a post-mortem to learn how we can prevent it from happening again. In the post-mortem, we put together all the context, such as the severity, impact, and a timeline of the events that happened, cobbling across tickets, Slack messages, and so forth. And then finally, we actually put action items for how can we prevent this in the future. And that last part, that's what I really look forward to, the learnings, and this is a critical part of our engineering culture. Admittedly, though, I don't enjoy the first part, which is just synthesizing all this information and putting it together. Like, it already exists in the Slack conversation in Jira. Why do I need to write it together? Thankfully, Glean's post-mortem agent doesn't mind at all doing this. All I have to do is provide the post-mortem agent with the Jira ticket. And what it does is it finds all related Slack conversations with that ticket. It finds the GitHub PRs that we used to actually resolve it. And then using our postmortem template, which is located in our wiki, it puts it all together. And here you see I have this beautiful postmortem for the root cause, everything happened, a timeline event, and the action items for how we prevent this in the future. Then, finally, just with a simple click or two, I can export this as a Google Doc to share with the rest of my team. So what we've shown here today is how agents fit into the entire software development lifecycle, from understanding the context of code, to committing code, to in production, resolving issues and learning from them. In particular, though, we didn't look just at the code. We leveraged the fact that Glean is connected to all the systems where I do engineering work, from the ticketing, the messaging, and documents. And that's not just a nice to have, that's actually strictly necessary if we want agents to work the way that I do. And that's why we're really excited about the potential of Glean agents for engineering.